What's going on, arcade nerds? Walking in my garage right now. It's about 3 in the morning, and I just wanted to pick up the camera, well, the phone, because I wanted to make a video to kind of show off this wonderful thing that I've wanted to happen for several years, and it finally came to fruition. I finally got a PCB for my Aztarac, and now my Aztarac works. But that's not all I made the video about. But I do want to show it off in the video. But I just figured I'd walk around and talk about random whatevers that's been on my mind and whatnot, and just talk to you guys just for fun. So let's go. But real quick, I'm all excited about Aztarac. So Aztarac. Years ago, I had an all-original Aztarac PCB. And I quit. I used to work at General Motors. And I took the buyout. And my intention was to repair circuit boards for a while. And it looked like General Motors my plant was in trouble. They were talking about moving production over to Mexico and so on. And I'm like, ooh, this doesn't look good. And I said, I need to take that buyout. So I quit my job. I took the buyout. I was supposed to get $100,000. They swore up and down I get $100,000. I ended up getting like $13,000. So I quit my job. My plan was to repair circuit boards because I was pretty decent at repairing circuit boards. So I thought, well, I'll just repair a bunch of circuit boards and that will be my job. Well, I didn't fix circuit boards fast enough. And I was stressed out, and I was stressing other people out because, like many of the other guys, you get a circuit board, you sit on it sometimes for months. And sometimes you need to pay the bills and so on. So you grab the lowest hanging fruit. You fix a quick Pac-Man and you pay some bills and so on. Meanwhile, there's some basket case boards that sit there forever and people get upset with you. And that's, I didn't want to be that guy, And as the years have gone on, I decided to never take in repairs ever again. And so what I did is I still do occasionally, but I didn't want that to be my income. And I've always enjoyed making schematics and so on. And so I started designing circuit boards instead. That ended up working out pretty well for me, But in the meantime, what I'm getting at, I had an Aztarac PCB. Money was tight, and I was like, well, I need to make some money. I don't know what to do. Because, we got to pay the bills, we got to do whatever it takes. And someone come along and says, Jason, I will give you $6,000 for your Aztarac PCB. And as much as I would love to have an Aztarac someday, $6,000 was pretty amazing offer. I thought that was actually an amazingly high offer. And so, of course, I needed the money, so I says, sure, I'll sell you that for $6,000. So $6,000 was in my pocket, and I paid all the bills and so on, and we moved on from there. And of course, over that course of time, I sold lots of games. I sold my Journey. I sold a whole bunch of games. And during that transition, I needed the money to buy parts to make the next boards, the next line of circuit boards that I sell through Arcade Shop and so on. And I told myself, well, I'll get another Aztarac board. I think I seen one sell for $1,000 or $2,000 one time, and so on. And it says, you know what? I will get that back. But I didn't. You know what happened? Every time I see an Aztarac board, it was way out of my price range. And maybe I didn't get such a good deal as I thought when I got paid that $6,000. I needed it. I don't regret it. But so it's a lot of money. That's a lot of money for me to talk about. I'm not rich here. So, so years later, let's say now, I'm not as bad off when it comes to money as I used to be. And so the circuit board thing has gone well. And so I got a big paycheck from selling a bunch of circuit boards. And I also work for other companies that are not arcade related, but arcade related is what people know me for. So anyways, so I got some money in my pocket, and a guy out of nowhere called me up and says, Jason, I have something you might be interested in. And his name is Chris Morgan, by the way. So this Chris, he called me up. I didn't really know him from Adam. And so he says, hey, Jason, I have this Aztarac PCB, and I heard you like vectors. And I says, well, sure do. And so he says, well, he wants $6,000 for it. And I told him at the time, I says, man, I don't exactly have $6,000 at this moment, but I could work towards it. I could probably figure something out. But is there any way I can get you to go lower? This is kind of a lot of money for me. And in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, my wife is going to be furious. And I'm thinking, my wife's going to be mad. She's not going to, I mean, she gets this stuff too, but that's a lot of money. We're talking. That's the most expensive thing I ever paid for when it comes to anything arcade related. So I'm thinking to myself, I don't know if I could somehow come up with some money and maybe stall this guy, because he's telling me, oh, well, there's other guys that are interested too. And I'm like, ah, shit. So some rich guy in the end of the day is probably going to end up getting the board. That's what usually happens anyways, So, so that's the true story. So anyways, I got paid, and he lives in Tennessee, and I drove to Tennessee. And the deal was, we worked out a deal to make it a little cheaper. Chris happens to have 4 Omega Race cabinets. They're all non-working, and he's having trouble with the Omega Race boards. And he come back and he says, hey, I know you wanted to get the price lower. I seen that you make a board that plugs into Omega Race cabinets. He says, is there any chance I could get 4 of them off of you, and we could take that off the $6,000? So I said, sure. And so I gave him 4, so they sell for $250 a piece. So I ended up getting him those boards and $5,000 cash. And told my wife that, hey, I know we just got paid from this job. Any chance you want to come down to Tennessee with me and we do this stupid decision? And so as stupid as it was, we did it anyways, just because you only live once, man. And it's something I've wanted for years, and I overpriced, but whatever. So we drove to Kelly. Where was it in Tennessee?
Oh, it's over by the Smoky Mountains.
Smoky Mountain area, I forget now. Anyways, we drove down there. I met Chris. We got along really well. Chris has like 200 and some arcade machines, and I'll tell you an interesting story. So anyways, me and him hit it off pretty well. I like Chris. He's a good dude. So he found this Asterock board on eBay, and it was in some goofy category. It said game machine or something like that. And so it wasn't really in the right category. So here, I'm going to show you my junk while we walk around. So he bid $50 on this Asterock board. And just for fun, because he's like, whoa, that's an Asterock board. That's going to go for big money, So he bid $50 on the board, and he won the bid on eBay for $50. So I guess it cost just as much to ship it as it was as for the board when he bought the board. Anyways, long story short, he made a great deal because he paid $50 for this board and sold it for $6,000. And so, what else can I talk about? I just want to talk about random stuff here. Oh, let me talk about what we did to fix the board. Okay, so I get this Asterock board, untested. We have no idea what's going on. I get this Asterock board in the on the test bench, and I plug it in. And the first thing we did was plug it in. I hooked up to this scope, and I seen a picture. And me and Kelly were flipping out. We were jumping around in the basement. Oh my God, it works! Oh my God! And as we're watching it, the scope goes to a dot in the middle of the screen. I'm like, oh shit! Shut it off. So anyway, so we found out that during the attract mode, it went to a spot where there is a sound. It's supposed to play a sound. Well, during that spot, it does a handshake where the sound CPU talks to the main CPU, and that handshake was not finished. So this main CPU was waiting for this handshake, and it would lock up and freeze the whole thing. Interestingly enough, not trigger the watchdog, but simply sit there and wait, cycle for cycle, waiting for the CPU. So, but before we came to that conclusion, we were going through the EEPROMs and stuff, because it's like, well, if it keeps locking up at the same spot, it sounds like an EEPROM issue. Let's go through the EEPROMs and let's see what's going on. I bet you this is easy to fix. Easy fix. And so, it wasn't. I mean, it was, but I assumed it was the EEPROMs. So anyways, it just ended up being a bad Z80 CPU. We popped in a Z80 and sucker fired up and ran. Oh, by the way, so we ended up building in a whole harness because I don't have a harness for my Aztarac. Here's another random thing I thought was kind of cool. Okay, so I'm standing here in my garage, and in my garage there is the one and only Century Armor Attack prototype. This is serial number 1. And for as far as I can tell, it's the only one in existence. And over here is a rare Century ripoff. So I kind of like Centuries, you know. But anyways, what I'm getting to is, I think this may be the only point in history that all three Centuries are under one roof. So, vectors, yes. In other words, this is a vector, that's a vector, and Asterac's a vector. So this is all three. All three work too. Pretty cool. But yeah. So anyways, that's, you know, let me talk about that. I'm just talking here. Tell me how lousy I am later in the comments. So I'm just gonna fill this up as talk. I don't know what else to do. It's been a while since I made a video, and I seriously don't know what to talk about. So I'm just going to talk like you're right here with me, just because. Maybe I can annoy you with my life stories, like an old man. So, that's an interesting story. So, was it Charlie Greenbacker or somebody made a video where they got a Rockola Armor Attack, and I'm like, oh man, that's badass. Now I have the Rockola upright, but I don't have the Rockola Cocktail Armor Attack. And so I was like, man, I would love to have one of those, because before I'm dead, I want to continue trying. I may never succeed, but I'd like to have every single vector ever made. We're getting close, but there's still some that I may never ever get. And I'm kind of proud that I may have, or I am at least in like the club of the top guys, largest vector collectors in the world. So I don't want to brag, but that's just something I enjoyed, because I like vector stuff. So anyway, so I said online, I says, man, I wish I had that Rockola Armor Attack. Does anyone have Rockola Armor Attack? So then some random guy, I'm sorry, I'm rambling so much. So some random guy contacted me and he says, hey, Jason, I have an Armor Attack Century. And I says, no, you don't. So no, you don't, because it never existed. So Century never had a license for Armor Attack. And he says, yes, it did. No, it didn't. Yes, he did. And So the story is, this guy's dad died, and all of his stuff became his. He inherited all that stuff. His dad worked at Century in Florida, and he took this home from the Century company. So it is true, as far as I know, they never had a license to use Armor Attack, but they would do testing, and they would put something out on a location somewhere, legal or not, and they would see how well it does. And if it doesn't do so well, they just don't make the cabinet. They don't even ask for the license or whatever. I don't know. Or maybe it's, I don't know if that's the whole story, but that's just sort of what we're talking about. So anyways, he says, hey, I'm coming through next month. I'm going through Ohio. Do you want me to bring this thing to you? And I forget, Kelly, do you remember what we paid for this thing?
I can't remember.
I can't remember either, but it was like a giveaway. Like $200 or something, $500. I don't remember. So he delivered it to my door. Got to talk to the guy and whatever. So that is the serial number 1 Armor Attack. Yeah, I don't know. Once again, keep in mind, I'm talking about random stuff. So recently we picked up this baby Pac-Man, which is in poor shape. And I kind of wanted a baby Pac-Man. Now, if you've ever seen any of my older videos, you may know that I used to own a baby Pac-Man. A pretty nice looking baby Pac-Man back in the day. Well, when I transitioned from working at General Motors to being a circuit board repair tech to having my own circuit board company, we sold a lot of stuff. And one of the things we sold to make do and to make things work was our baby Pac. And so I wanted baby Pac. I missed it. And this one's in kind of rough shape, but it's totally fixable. So anyways, someone left a message. Was it Jason Wheeler?
Yeah, Jason.
Jason Wheeler. So a friend of mine, he left a message on Facebook Marketplace, and some guy posted on his own wall. He had a picture of a baby Pac and a picture of this stupid Lethal Enforcers and a arcade 1-up and some home use only pinball machine that was like sold at Sears or something back in the day. So he says, take them all for $200. And so my buddy sent me that link, and no one was replying. And so I commented, talked to that guy, and I said, dude, I'll give you $200. And the deal was, all I really wanted was the baby Pac. And so he says, you got to take them all, right? They're heavy, right? Mm-hmm. You know how that goes. You should bring a dolly. So we were all happy as hell. Me and Kelly went down there and got this baby Pac-Man. But we had to take all of the junk. So I gave away the home use pinball machine. And luckily, he actually changed his mind. He says, I'd kind of like this arcade 1-up. And I'm like, please, take it. So I ended up with the pinball machine that I gave away and this stupid Lethal Enforcers 2. I'm a friend of mine. I hate to say it, but I might just give a friend of mine the guts to it. It's kind of in not the greatest shape, but that's not the kind of thing I collect. So so $200. Now at home, not a bad deal for a baby Pac-Man. I'm just, trying to fill up some random stuff. But, last year, we've had this car for about a year now.
Yeah.
And so last year, this time, I haven't washed it in a while. But last year, around this time, we got paid for doing a run of Masteroids or something. I forget. And my plan was we are going to have a large amount of money, and we don't come across large amounts of money often. You know what I mean? And so, of course, me being poor, thought of a large amount of money and says, well, what can we buy instead of what can we invest? Because you don't always have money, and money is a special thing when you get money out of nowhere. So we originally I was contacting someone about buying a Cosmic Chasm. I don't own a Cosmic Chasm. Now, my intentions are to, and it could happen this way, are to convert a dragon's lair into a cosmic chasm. I by the way, I had a cosmic chasm PCB, and I sold that also during the great sell-off. During the great arcade Jason sell-off, I sold my cosmic chasm PCB that I was planning to put into a, Anyways, so I had all this money, and I was talking to someone about buying it. And he says, well, I was storing it for 15 years, and this is a working cosmic chasm. And I says, great. Can you send me a picture of it? He wanted $15,000. So I says, great. Can you send me a video or a picture of it working? And he'd say, oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, I'll plug it in. Well, like a month goes by, 2 months goes by. And he says, hey, are you interested in the cosmic chasm? And I says, sure, but I need you to plug it in and send me a video. He's like, and we would go through the same loop. I mean, he seems like a nice guy. I don't know him well, And he'd say, well, it does work. It worked 15 years ago. I'm like, here we go again. He says, I would love, by the way, there's nitrous, 150 a shot currently. So, if it wasn't like 3, 4 in the morning right now, I'd start it up just because I love hearing the sound. I love smelling the exhaust. I love losing brain cells over it. So, he was kind of flaky, and also on top of this, he was in Europe. So I would have had to pay additional money to ship it, and I wasn't sure if this thing even worked. And there was no way to go around it. And so I was looking at Facebook Marketplace, and I always wanted a nice 240Z. And I have a couple already. Matter of fact, I have 3 other ones, but they're all in varying stages of decay. When I was a kid, my dad had one of these, and I loved it. And it was a big deal to me. And over the years, as I grew up, my version of what an ideal, beautiful looking 240Z has changed into more of a hot rod. I'd like to have, 500 horsepower minimum, and I'd like to have even more than that. Or it needs to have a small block Chevy because small block Chevy, and so on. And it needs to have, a shortened rear end, and I would love this, my just dreaming, And I remember being at work thinking about dreaming, like, well, geez, if I could do this, if I had the money, kind of thing. So anyways, money was burning a hole in my pocket. And the cosmic chasm was the decision. And it, even though I'd like to have a cosmic chasm, just that's a lot of money. And I felt like, boy, would I really get $15,000 of fun out of a cosmic chasm arcade machine? This is rich people talk. You know what I mean? Like, that's what a rich guy does. And he buys it and puts it in his warehouse, never looks at it again. And so, I seen this on Facebook Marketplace, and I'm jumping around in my basement, like, look at this thing. Oh my God, Ford 9-inch rear end, 4,000 stall torque converter. Oh my God, it looked awesome. It was everything that I wanted done. Roll cage, from like here on back, there's no frame. It's all custom frame on this thing. And just something I always wanted since I was a little kid, because my dad had one. So anyways, the Z of my dreams showed up. I wasn't too fond of the color, but that's how it is. I kind of like it now. It's grown on me. The Z of my dreams showed up, and I had a pocket full of money at the time, and I bought it, and we drove all the way to South Dakota. And we drove to South Dakota with a dolly, and when we showed up at South Dakota, we got the car on the back of the truck on the dolly. All of a sudden, we have a miss in the engine on the truck. And I'm like, oh boy, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if the cam got wiped. I don't know if we just got a bad coil, we got a spark plug, injector. I don't know. So we pull into an AutoZone, and I did all those things. I bought a new spark plug wire, bought a new coil pack, new spark plug, injector. Nothing happened. So I was afraid, oh geez, maybe I wiped the cam. I don't know. Hopefully this thing gets home on 7 cylinders. So it did. We got the truck home. We drove it on 7 cylinders all the way home. Here I'm worried about, like, I don't have enough money to tow this thing home. Did we just buy this car to lose it on the side of the highway somewhere or what? I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't have anybody that would like bail me out if I needed money or whatever. So I was worried the whole time. We got the thing home. Boy, am I rambling. I'm just talking about stuff I want to talk about. I don't know. So anyway, since we got it, we did a few little things. We added nitrous to it and took it to the drag strip. New seats and whatever. Whenever there was something purple and anodized aluminum, we found it and put it on it here, and bolts and nuts and caps and all kinds of random little things. We haven't waxed this in a while. I should have done it before I took a video. Looks pretty good. The camera makes it look pretty good, I guess. But yeah, we got 11.2 is our best time at the drag strip. But that's going to change. Oh, speaking of, we already blew the transmission. So yeah, we blew the transmission. I was leaving. I probably shouldn't mention this, but I'm going to mention it. You know, every once in a while, you leave somewhere, you don't see any cops or anything, and you tap the gas a little bit and go sideways. You know, and so I did that one day, and it slipped. I'm like, what? I mean, I'm just talking. I'm not being rough with it here. But yeah, so the transmission now slips, and so I guess that's the end of this for this year. No more drag strip, no more nothing. And we're gonna, my plan is, originally has a turbo 350 transmission with a reverse manual valve body and a shift kit, what's it called? Full manual valve body. So in other words, it doesn't shift itself, you have to shift for it. And so on, because it's a custom transmission valve body. So anyways, we're going to put in a Power Glide transmission instead. I was looking at some that are rated like 1,200 horsepower, which would be amazing because I'll never have 1,200 horsepower. Therefore, we have an unblowable transmission, right? So, and be kind of cool to have trans brake. So, yeah, I don't know, geez. Boy, I turned this video into a look what I got, and I kind of hate when people do that. Anyways, yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I love this car. Jeez. Look at the big wide tires in the back. Oh, so cool. Anyways, okay, so, well, holy shit. It says I've been talking for 27 minutes.
Told you it wouldn't take
27 minutes.
You were worried about filling it up.
I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. Okay, so at some point in this video, I guess we're going to do it right now.
Aztarac.
We got to play some Aztarac. I am, yeah, go ahead and plug it in. Well, go ahead and plug it in. So, oh yeah, let me talk about this. This is kind of interesting. So, years ago, when I was going to build an Aztarac, I didn't have a bubble. This bubble. Okay? And so, a friend of mine owns a legit Aztarac. And I says, hey, can I measure your bubble? So I went over to his house and I measured his bubble. And I contacted a company that makes the dome for helicopters. So like you get into like an old helicopter and it has that clear dome. The company that makes those domes, I contacted them and I says, hey, I gave them the dimensions for this. And they made it. And they charged me way too much. I think I had 20 made. And when I sold, so I had to, because that was the minimum they would take. So I think I had 20 made. And by the time I sold all 20, I just got mine for free. And it was ridiculous money. And I felt like a doof asking for that much money. I forget what it was, like 200 or 275 or something ridiculous. And then years later, I suppose I come to the conclusion I could have just made this myself. The process to do this is not actually that complicated. Anyway, so let me set up a tripod, and let's record some gameplay. Okay, there is a storm rolling in here, and so we'll see how that goes. But I wanted to show off something I thought was really cool on this. Oh wow, there's rain. Okay, anyways. So, one thing I thought was really cool about this is when you hit the slam switch, now if you're not familiar with the slam switch, if you bang the coin door, sometimes there's like a weight and two contacts, and the weight will touch it. And the same thing with some pinball machines and so on. It shows that someone's been being rough with the machine, and that means you'll lose a credit or something like that. And so when you do that to Asterock, it makes a really cool message. I thought was pretty cool. So I'm going to hit this. Actually says, cut that out. How cool is that? Isn't that funny? I don't know. I thought that was pretty cool. So I've set this to free play. And let's go ahead and play this. Now keep in mind, I am terrible at this game. It's actually sort of a difficult game to play. So I'm gonna do the best to say what's going on. So over here, let me back this thing up a little bit. So here you have your score, your condition, your power, and energy. Now, as you play the game, you can earn power and energy. So, I believe, I'm not sure which one is which, but one of these, power or energy, lets you fire faster, and the other one lets you move faster. And your score, self-explanatory, and condition just says you're a red condition, which means you're in trouble, or your yellow condition, you're not so much trouble, and so on. What else? Should we just start it? Let me get this thing a little closer. Oh, as of right now, I don't have a speaker mounted. So it's just a speaker sitting in the bottom of the cabinet. So we'll see how that goes. It doesn't sound that great. So there's a spinner here. Spinner. And see, the idea is to defend your star bases or whatever these are. It's basically rip-off. It's a color rip-off. If you're familiar with the arcade machine rip-off, it's a vector game. And you have to protect these bases in the middle. Now, I can press this radar, and that shows that I have some guys coming. So it shows me where these people are coming after me. And I have a spinner that controls the direction of fire. So I can go all around. So I got all the guys. So that means I earned power and energy and additional bonus points. Should turn the volume up. Oh well. So now you look at this. I'm noticeably faster. These guys are a little smarter than the green ones. So I got those guys. I can go straight up and should be able to find these guys. And the idea is to try to get a perfect run. If you get a perfect run, you get more points and you get energy. There's energy just floating around. I got it. Now these guys are a little more aggressive than the others. I got it. You gotta get these guys before they touch your base. So I've got a pretty decent run for me now. I got them all. So now I can sit here. I got that bonus. I got the more power, more energy. And over here, you see these little circles? That denotes how much power and how much energy you have. So now I got souped up. I'm all upgraded. Now your base is moving, and some of the enemies are stationary. You're moving towards them or whatever.
and some are actively hunting you. So I'm going to check the radar. Looks like there's... Boy, it is hard. So as this gets faster, it's harder to find where you're at. Okay, so now that guy can't hit me. Oh, these guys are nuts. Okay, I got him. Gotta go down this way. Oh, I literally ran right into somebody while I'm looking at my radar. So now I messed up, and something hit my base, by the way. Oh, these guys are wicked, too. And they're basically... Oh, they got me good. They screwed me over. So, oh! Wow, this is a bad run. Anyways, what else we got? Okay, here's these guys straight down. Oh, no. Did I die? Did it? Nope. Okay. Okay, come on, baby. Oh. Come on. I want to see what the next level is. I actually never been past this level. So, I would like to know. Is that all of them? It is. I think. Maybe not. Yeah, that's it. That's all of them. This is now officially as far as I've ever been. Awesome. Oh no, I've been here. I've been this far. Okay, let's go to these blue guys. Okay, that was dumb. See, now the enemies are moving faster. Look how fast you can move in this game. Okay. Okay, there's some big guy over here. Ooh, I'm getting a pretty decent score, Kelly. So the world record is, what'd you say, Kelly? I think it was 140,000?
Yeah. 143 maybe?
It must get way harder than this. Because I'm already at 50 here. I guess we'll go up here. So one thing that's interesting about this is the, ooh boy, we're getting there. We're getting some... Come on, baby. Oh. No, I didn't even know these guys were... Oh.
They came out of nowhere.
They came out of nowhere, is right. Dude, I'm so happy. I got this. This was years in the making. Oh, we're green. I just passed the level. So at some point, if you don't go back to your base, there we go. It'll tell you to go back to your base. That just speeds things along. But during that time, if you have time, you can sometimes get a bonus. Definitely never been here. Oh. Ah, somehow one hit me already? I didn't even know it? No! Okay, right above me there's something. Ooh! This is and just like Ripoff, like you have lives until you lose all your things. And I'm about to do that. I'm about to lose my last guy here soon. No! Okay, that's it. I died. That was my highest score yet. 59,265. Yeah, so... Oh yeah, might as well do that. Awesome. Highest score yet. Anyway, so this is kind of interesting. This has quadrature signal. The joystick puts out a dual quadrature signal. So it has the best way to describe it is imagine a trackball. It puts out a quadrature signal for X and Y coordinates. Well, this trackball, the joystick, is a self-centering trackball. This way, with digital certainty, it knows exactly where it's at. Anyways, my phone says the battery's running low. Some features may be limited, so let me turn this off. And thanks for watching, guys, and have a good one. Sorry for rambling.